In a new interview on Vlad TV, D.L. Hughley was asked about Monique's latest comments that came from a Vulture interview back in April. During that conversation, she said she meant everything she said about D.L. Hughley and that he was never brave enough to say he started the whole situation with her. Now, if you remember, a year ago, the two comedians scheduled to perform on the same lineup, but they would fall out due to a conflict on who was going to headline. The back and forth got nasty when Monique mentioned Hughley's family, which many thought was taking things a little too far. In his interview with DJ Vlad, Hughley would allude to Monique always being the problem and simply said, "Show me a picture of you with your family, just one, of somebody loving you." While Vlad would point out that Monique was the one who started the whole situation with DL herself. Today we have our comedy hype analysts, Yamaneika Saunders and Pierre, calling to the show to give their thoughts and reactions. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
Monique has a new special on Netflix.
You know I'm not going to say anything about, I don't even know who you're talking about.
Can I at least just say a quote of what she said about you?
I wouldn't even be interested.
Well, I'll just say it and you don't have to comment.
Okay.
What I said about D.L. Hughley, I meant it and I don't take it back. They said, how could you attack his family? I never attacked DL's family. I simply reposted an interview that DL Hughley had. I don't have no issue with DL, but because DL was never brave enough to say, guys, I started this whole situation with my sister Monique. I started the whole thing. After that, we can move forward. Everything he said about DL, I meant that. I meant that.
Everybody I've ever worked with will work with me again. I'm a fucking solid dude.
Yep.
My family fucking loves me. Despite all the horrible shit I've done,
yeah,
I'm as solid as they come. Can you say the same? I ain't got to sue people or call people out. I ain't got to argue. I just be who the fuck I am and do what I do. Show me a picture of you with your family. One, anywhere, of somebody loving you.
Now, Pierre, I'm coming to you for your reaction. Also, you know, DL started out by saying he wasn't going to speak on Monique. So I'd love to know, do you agree with him saying that he's no longer going to address Monique? Pierre?
Yeah, I mean, it gets repetitive, it gets old, you know. Shit, look what we're doing, okay? But, you know, if it keeps being brought up, you know, it's hard to avoid certain things. It's a sensitive issue in a way with him. I believe that he's just tired of talking about it. He said what he said and he wants to move on, you know, but for some reason, you know, we like in the news, in the media, we want to talk about it. We want to keep bringing it up again. It's just something that we as a people want to bring up. He's not bringing it up, and I think he's past it. He made some valid points in that in his statement, you know, he didn't want to talk about it, but he kind of talked about her still. He made valid points, you know. When it comes to Monique, you know, even if she's fighting for right, it's at a point now that it's just like, it's just noise again. It's noise, you know. We got to, you know, she may be making a valid point, but we got to, people like, not again with her, not again. And it's one of them things I think when, you know, people cry wolf so many times, not saying she wasn't right about what she was saying, but she says it so much. It's always comes from that slant of, y'all doing me wrong, something messing me up and stuff. And where people are kind of tired of it. Even our fan base are trying to hang in there, and they're, you know, they're sliding back. I just wish that, you know, she could go get past some of the stuff and move on. You know, especially with this incident with DL.
Now, Pierre, you know, Yamaneika is becoming famous for these backdrops, and I'm loving the one. Yeah. I'm loving, and I got to know about this one today, Yamaneika. Yamaneika, I know you've been very vocal, you know, on these conversations about your experience with Monique. So I'd love to get your reaction to hearing from DL, but also, do you agree with him for saying, like, hey, I no longer want to address Monique?
I mean, once again, we are in the jury box. Okay.
That's what it is.
Right. Me and these white men back here is tired. We tired of the nonsense. Okay. Yes, and Pierre got his gavel out. Okay. We all on brand. We all on theme. Okay. And Symphony got the prison background going on. We all on theme here. Okay. We tired. I will say DL did his best to, you know, not speak about it, but I will say that I think Vlad, you know, really opened up and pressed the issue. And that's all I got to say about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and I think there will be something coming up about that as well later. So let me start with you, Yamaneika, and kind of work my way back. So, you know, DL talks about reputation. He compares his reputation to what we see from Monique. He also says, hey, I'll put my reputation up against anybody. Just, you know, he believes that he's a solid dude, or he has been a solid dude, and anybody that has worked with him would want to work with him again. So let me ask you, in your experience and the things that you've seen during your time, right? How much does reputation play in the success of your career? You know, especially right now with the times of social media and, you know, people going in on, you know, these times. What do you think? How much does reputation play a part in that?
A lot of the projects that I've gotten is because of my reputation. Either the reputation I have to deliver, be someone who is fun to work with, you know, so that's been a large part of my career. But also I've had run-ins with comedians as well. I've got people I don't speak to, people that don't speak to me. I think we can't act like in the business of comedy, there's not a lot of shady dealings going on. There's not a lot of bad blood, people not speaking to each other, people don't want to be around. So, you know, I don't think that's something that is unique to Monique. I just think once she became the person that was sort of the poster child for complaining, you know, that's what we always see her as somebody who complains. But I think she has probably about the same amount of problems with other comedians or in the business of comedy as a lot of us do.
Pierre, let me come to you. Same question. You know, what are your thoughts? How much does reputation play in the success of your career? And also, do you think reputation trumps talent, or, you know, how do those things work hand in hand?
It hit me when DL was talking about him being a solid dude, you know, in his business, as they put up and people work with him. It reminded me of me a lot. I know I'm 100% solid. It is what it is. Look at my podcast. I mean, come on. I have everybody from your boy Killer Mike, T.I., Lunel, Carlos Miller, Faison, Godfrey, Earthquake, Country Wayne. So many people come on my show, and they came during the pandemic too. Why do you think so? If I'm that whack guy or that corny dude or that horrible guy, what? Because behind the scenes, I'm a solid dude. In fact, in front of the camera side, I may be funny, but I'm a solid individual. That's why they come on my podcast, okay? I don't pay them. They come for free. They come for love for me. It's not a thing I have to pay for. So, you know, I think it's so important to have a solid reputation. I don't really care what people say who don't know me, especially on some of these, you know, comments. They don't know me, so it's whatever. But in time, why do you think I've been around here for 30 years, you know, working and still working on a high level, doing shows and so forth. So reputations are very important. Who you work with, who wants to work with you, who's willing to mess with you. Because people don't mess with you if they don't want to mess with you. Trust me, unless there's a lot of money involved, you know, you got money involved, but if not money involved, people are like, I'm not working for him or work with her. I'm not doing that. So reputation is very, very important. And, you know, like DL said, look at me. People gonna come back to work with me again. I don't follow Monique enough or really DL to know how true that statement is, but do people come back to Monique again and work with her over and over that she's not paying? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So that's very important though. Reputation is very important in this business.
I agree with Pierre. I agree with Pierre because we all been trying to figure out why you still around after 30 years.
Yeah, reputation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
See, I knew Young Monique was gonna have to add something funny there, but I will say, even when it comes to money, you know, some people still don't work with people if it's not a substantial amount of money. You know, they'll still walk away from that. So great points from both of you. Well, we're gonna cut to commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna be joined by a live studio audience member, because as you know, on Wednesdays, that's what we do. We have a live audience, and we allow somebody to come on and ask you all the questions. So when we come back from break, we'll have them ask you all the question. Be right back.
Fridays at 8 on Peachtree TV.
Why do you feel it's so important to support Black-owned businesses?
Some of Atlanta's best Black-owned businesses take center stage.
Whoa!
Black Friday Report.
Okay. Oh!
Only on Atlanta's own Peachtree TV.
As I mentioned, we're joined by a live studio audience member. Her name is Godfrey Siana. She's a hair care specialist right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining us. And what's your question?
All right. Hi. Thanks for having me. Should there be a code? Hey. Should there be a code to criticizing another Black person on a non-Black platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was trying to figure out why he was on Vlad's TV in the first place, because I thought we was, didn't we say as a community we was gonna stop going on there? I don't know, that's what everybody said. And then they back on there doing that. So we can't even stick together with that. So, you know, we all over the place as a Black community. We say one thing, do another thing, be here, don't be here, sit down. You know, and I think Vlad was a little messy himself when he tried to add his own little personal information in about Monique and wanting him to sign a contract, and she wanted to own the rights to the property and all this other stuff. Yeah, it wasn't a good look for me, for him to be on there and speaking bad about the sister, but hey, he was doing the interview in the first place.
Let me look up to see who Vulture is owned by, because Dominique forgot, or Dominique, or whatever your name. It's been a while. I don't know who you really are. Let's see who Vulture is owned by. Vulture is not owned by a Black person. Monique went on there and talked about DL, so let's make sure we bring her in it too. I'm not sure, but we'll find out who Vulture, because you didn't say that part. You worry more about Vlad, so let me get that together. Oh, it is owned by white people. So, okay, white public. So, yeah. So, Monique went on to Vulture and talked about DL. Remember that part now. Let's get that part. Yeah, is it a bad look? Yeah, it's not good when two Black people get on a white platform and say what they say. But people try to get their message out any way they can into the biggest audience. And sometimes it's a white publication, that people go on to spread what they got to spread, whatever point they're making. Like is it Dominique? Well, it's been I don't know. It's been she had a good point. We shouldn't do it, but people are trying to get their words out there. People are trying to get their words out. This is all at the end of their point out at the end of the day. So, we don't work collectively together anyway. So what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like she said. He was known as a culture vulture. They were going to boycott him, but who's going to boycott him? We ain't going to boycott nobody. We don't get together enough to do that kind of stuff. Unless it's somebody Black, we might boycott them. But white folks, Black folks don't boycott.
Well, the reason, just for clarity, the reason why I brought that up is because there was a movement to not go on Vlad because of that. Nobody was making a movement about Vulture. That's why I brought it up.
It should have been a movement about Vulture. If we're talking about Black people on a white platform to say something about negative about Black, it don't matter if it's about Vlad or whatever place it is. Are we talking about whatever place, or we're talking about just about DJ Vlad?
I'm talking about the movement that was started specifically about Vlad, right? Okay. So I'm not here to make social commentary about where we put our content. I'm saying as a collective, which is oftentimes what Black people do. We say we're not going to go somewhere, we're going to boycott something, and then we don't do it. So the thing I'm specifically talking about is when we said we were not going to go to Vlad, number one, the claim was that he wasn't paying. Number two, we did not know who he was. Number three, I think most people thought he was a Black person, and then you found out that he was not.
Right.
So that's why I brought that up.
The question was, should we as Black people air our grievances on a white platform? That was the question. That's all I'm saying. Vulture's a white platform. I understand that was the question,
but also, again, I'm talking about Vlad specifically because there was a campaign not to go on there. Okay. I mean, I'm not getting into the minutia of every little dot and whip and whap, but I also followed up my statement by saying that we have a hard time as people in general standing behind the things that we say and sticking together, i.e. this back and forth that we have in here now where you keep acting like you don't know who the hell I am.
Well, you said, you ain't heard from me. Who am I in 30 years? Come on now. I'm joking with you. Stop crying. We don't cry on here. We don't cry on here.
Different energy.
We don't cry on here. Let's not cry on here. This is comedy hype.
Pierre, people understand energy. Your energy was very different than my energy was when I was joking with you. Come on.
Okay.
I'ma hop in. I love it. I know Wednesdays y'all two take it up, but
my feelings are hurt. Your energy ain't right.
My feelings aren't hurt, but I'm at all, Pierre.
Come on.
My feelings don't get hurt up in here.
Come on, Dominique, come on.
You try to, I'm making up something that, listen, we all have to interact with each other the way we have to interact with each other. I didn't start that thing against Vlad TV. I don't even watch Vlad TV unless it's some clip we watching here. I'm saying if we decided as people we weren't going to do it because he was out here exploiting us, then we should have stopped giving him interviews. If you're not, then don't say anything.
Who's we as
Why
people?
we are inconsistent as people, and this is why we can't get a lot of stuff done in our community, because people think our words are wishy-washy and we don't stand on the things that we say we're going to do.
All right, I'm gonna hop in here because I see the people on your jury in the back, Yamaneika. They whispering in each other and they talking about it.
Okay. Oh, you got white men.
Yeah, he tired.
In front of white
I'm
folks.
tired too.
You doing that shit in front of white folks behind you. God.
I don't listen, honey. I don't do nothing for white people, and I think everybody knows that about me.
All right. Well, since you got 3C on it, you started all this, so I'm gonna come to you to get what are your thoughts on everything? What are your thoughts on it?
I do agree. We should definitely do more with standing on our word. If we are gonna have a code, we need to stick to the code. I don't think that we should be blasting each other on platforms that are not black. I think that should be the code. No, none of that. When we go on our own, our people's platforms, also there still should be a level of respect, because we need to show that we're unified. We shouldn't show that we are chopping each other's heads off. I don't think that's showing our hand. You don't show your hand. Don't show your hand. But especially on people's platforms that aren't black.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you for coming on and asking the question and for giving your opinion. I was joking, about starting things, but we always have a good time on Wednesdays. Now, before you head out, of course, I know I mentioned you're a haircut specialist here in Atlanta. So how can people follow you, and if they want to book you or buy the things that you have, how do we do that?
So I usually work off a name-to-name basis. You got to see it, you got to hear about it. But I am located on Instagram, Q Loves Your Hair. You hit me up on there, or if you know someone who can contact me, tell them to say your name. They gotta say your name.
Come on, exclusivity.
Yeah. I could definitely be found.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate you again for joining us, and we'll give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Now, that viewer spotlight was sponsored by lovely people over at Cash Vodka, where more cash brings more of everything. Now, before we close out, I just have one more question for y'all, and I promise I'm letting y'all go. I promise. Pierre, I'll come to you. One more for you. Pierre, I'll start with you. We've seen taking things to social media and involving, your audience is kind of the new wave, right? If you have an issue with a company, people take it to social media, or they want to involve their fans to kind of create that leverage for what they're fighting for. I want to ask you, we've seen this with Monique over time. Do you think it's benefiting her, or do you think it's hurting her more as she continues to bring in her audience to the things that she wants to fight for?
Well, I understand why we do this, because we want it from our mouth, not from someone else saying what we said, or if you're trying to get something done behind the closed doors, people, shift stuff around, make stuff look a certain way. So you want to get out in front of it a lot of times and say what you got to say. Like Yamaneika said, she, or somebody said, she has a history of this, of being, oh, here we go again. So even when she's saying something that's, like I said, positive, or, in her right way, it's right for her, and it's right that we think it's right for her. We already have that she already has that stigma of, oh my God, here she goes again. It's all about delivery. I've learned that, people told me many times about delivery. You know what I'm saying? It's all how you deliver something. And if she delivers the way she's been doing it, she's going to always, get that side eye, when it first comes out of her mouth. And it's a sad thing, because, and she seems to not care about it and says, this is who I am. I'm going to double down on it. This is how I talk. This is what you're going to get. And she can't ask the people to intake it the way she wants them to intake it. They're going to take it the way they feel it. So yes, I think it hurts her extremely a lot. But, she has a core fan base that don't give a damn what she says. She can stab somebody in the middle of Times Square, and they be like, well, that person ran into that knife a couple of times with Monique. You know what I'm saying? Well, Monique supposed to cut the person. So, she got a fan base. And if she's fine with just that fan base, and I think it's shrinking because, some of the stuff she's done, but she's cool with that fan base, then hey, let her stand on her square.
Yamaneika, let me come to you and the jury in the back. Same question for you. What do you think? Do you think this new wave is benefiting Monique and the initiatives that she wants to push?
I don't know. Everybody's their own individual person. I think I think what we should do is find a way to have more open conversations, right? And doesn't mean stuff don't get started, but you should be able to wrap it up in a pleasant way. And I'm gonna take this time to say to my brother, I'm glad you've been in this business for 30 years. I love the work that you do. I love being here with you every Wednesday. And I love our back and forths. And I love when we go at it too. And I appreciate your levity. I think there are relationships that I have in comedy that are like that, back and forths. And then there's some that are just toxic. So you can't prevent the relationships that can't work. I don't think we're ever going to get to a place where Monique and DL will be okay. And I think the only place we will ever hear about their gripes with one another is in a public forum.
Yeah, no, I definitely couldn't agree with you more. Well, that wraps up the conversation as always. I appreciate you both. And I know Yamaneika, you made mention of it. I do appreciate y'all every Wednesday. It's always a good time. Even when we have a little, some scuffles, I think at the end, we always wrap it up to show you can have disagreements, but we're still going to come together as a family and continue to move forward. If, any apologies or anything needs to be made, we make it here. And I think this is a beautiful platform to show people how conversations can be had. So thank you both so much. I love the unity here. People can say what they want to say in the comments and all that, but this is a family and a real family. So I appreciate y'all so very much. Now, speaking of family, Miss Yamaneika, I'm starting with you to close us out. What do you have coming up? And of course, how can people follow you?
I was just on the Sherri Shepherd show today, so I have to shout that out. Thank you to Sherri Shepherd for just being such a wonderful and awesome person. And again, that speaks to relationships. Sherri Shepherd is one of the nicest people that you will ever meet. That's all I have to say about this week. You can follow me everything at Yamaneika. And hopefully, and I know a lot of it's on my part, hopefully I get to connect with Pierre so I can get on the Panic Room and add that to my list of credits.
Well, now that you did Sherri's show, you can do mine now.
Okay, good.
And I want to say Yamaneika was looking good too from the head to the toe. I seen you, so you look absolutely amazing. For sure. Pierre, I'm coming over to you. Close us out. What do you have coming up? And of course, how can people follow you?
I don't want to keep being redundant, but Yamaneika, I got nothing but love for her. We're going to clown. We're going to have fun. That's how we shit talk. We both strong personalities, and that's what it is. That's why you got us on Wednesdays. Come on. We know what it is, and it'll never be. Whatever we do here, it's left here to me. We'll call each other up after the show. So, if someone wants to make it into, y'all can enjoy it. That's what this is for. This is what y'all enjoy. You come here for on Wednesdays with me and her. And, so it's all good. It's all love. My podcast, we have my man Major Hype from the Caribbean King of Comedy. He's on my Pierre's Panic Room this week. Booty. Again, I'm chilling. I got some stuff I'm working on, actually, these 3 films that I'm just cleaning up and getting ready to put them out. So I'm excited about that. It's a lot of work, to do stuff with that. What's going to say? Oh, Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, June 7th is the Wednesday. I'm at the Comedy Zone doing a big show, one-man show coming up there. I may add somebody to the show, but why ask somebody when y'all coming to see me? You know what I'm saying? So Charlotte, holla at your boy. I'm in the place to be. All right, order in the court. In the damn court. They can follow me like they follow Yamaneika, all the white men behind her. I wish I had more white people behind my career and shit, man. Shit. That's exactly how her career looked right there. All the white folk behind her, working on her, helping her out and shit. Okay, look at my shit. It's just me back here, okay? My empty ass back here. But Comic Pierre, COMICPIERRE. You can holler at me.
I think the tagline for Wednesday is, "Are you not entertained?" I appreciate you two so very much. And thank you to our live studio audience member for joining us today as well. But you heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts of D.L. Hughley's latest response to Monique? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in them comments. There it is.
We'll see it. We see it.
Culture sounds like shea butter, like kente cloth, like hot sauce, like a hug with 2 pats and a slide, like pride, like a hair bucket with oils and ribbons and bows, like my forces are all white, but my mama black.